truly an honor to open this forum entitled Transforming Malaysian Education, a holistic approach to address critical concern. This session theme, Empowering Minds, Transforming Futures, invite us to reflect questions and collaborate as we explore how to build a more inclusive and forward-thinking education system. As a leaders, as a learners and future leaders, let us engage with open minds and compassionate hearts as we discuss real issues that shape our schools, teachers, and students. Our aim today is not just to highlight challenges, but to discover meaningful and practical solutions that can lead to positive, lasting transformation to Malaysian education. So here, we are honored to have a distinguished panel with us, each bringing valuable knowledge and diverse perspective to this discussion. Let us meet our panelists today. Okay. So first we have Dr. Shabina, a university lecturer who will share insight on inclusive teaching and curriculum innovation. Next, we have Professor Hashni, a psychologist and expert in student well-being. Um, she will highlight the importance of emotional support and holistic development. Then we have Dr. Noel, the State Department Head of Education. She will discuss with us about policy implementation and inclusivity in our school system. Finally, we have Associate Professor Ms. Menaga, an education policy analyst. She will share how data-driven strategies and reforms can bridge the gap between the policy and classroom practice. So throughout this session, I'm Uma. I will serve as a moderator to ensuring that our discussion remains focused and engaging and meaningful. Okay. So, Ms. Shavina, I would like to start with you. As someone who works closely with the future educators, what do you think are the main reasons behind ethnic disparities in education opportunities here in Malaysia?
Okay, thank you, Ms. Uma. So, in my point of view, I believe that ethnic disparity in education opportunities in Malaysia stems from several interconnected factors. Firstly is socio-economic background, which plays a major role as students from lower income families, often concentrated within certain ethnic groups. We can also put in a statement where face limited access to quality schools, tuitions, and also learning resources. This will directly affect the academic performance and as well as their future opportunities. So secondly, there is a clear rural-urban gap where school in rural areas, particularly those serving indigenous and minority communities, tend to have fewer trained teachers, weaker infrastructure, and less access to technology compared to the urban school. So creating an uneven starting point for students. Another contributing factor is language barriers. They use different mediums such as Malay, Mandarin, and Tamil,
Mhm.
which can sometimes be a disadvantage when students are transitioning to higher level of education where languages and infrastructure changes. So lastly, I would touch on the policy implementation gaps, which also plays a part. As though as Malaysian has inclusive educational policies in place, their execution often fall short due to limited monitoring, funding, or localized understanding of community needs. Overall, these disparity are not merely based on ethnicity, but also deeply intertwined with income inequalities, geographical location, language proficiency, and also systematic support within the education system.
Okay, that's nice. Do you agree that these differences are more related to policy, resources, or social background?
So in my point of view, based on research and the statistic, I would um highly choose the social background. It is because we can likely seen that the unequal distribution of resources gaps in policy implementation, while our national education policy promotes inclusivity and equal access. In practice, students from different socio-economic and ethnic background, so which do not start from the same footing. So children from lower income or marginalized community often attend under-resourced school with fewer qualified teachers, limited facilities, and minimal exposure to enrichment program compared to the urban counterpart, which also known as students. So this imbalance in resources enforce existing inequalities, making it harder for these students to actually compete academically and also to further their future opportunity. So to conclude this part, the resources and also the policies plays a significant role, which it also related to undialing social inequality shaped by income, location, and also the opportunity that remains the root cause of ethnic diversities in Malaysian education.
Thank you, Ms. Shavina. You raised some good points there. It is true that there are many of these gaps from unequal access and limited resources, especially between rural and urban schools. Okay, moving on, we are want to talk about education's policy analysis part. So, looking at cultural sensitivity and inclusivity in the curriculum, Miss Menaga, many teachers and parents have voiced their concern that our Malaysian curriculum doesn't always reflect Malaysia's multicultural reality. From your perspective, as an educational policy analysis, how can the curriculum be made so that it looks more inclusive and sensitive to the different beliefs, customs, and cultural backgrounds of students?
Alright, thank you, Ms. Uma, for the questions. To make our curriculum more inclusive, we should include stories, histories, and examples for all the Malaysian cultures, Malay, Chinese, and Indian and indigenous communities, so that every student feel like represented. Teachers should be also trained to understand the different cultures and the religious background to avoid the bias and make a lesson more respectful and engaging. By using a multicultural content in a textbook and teaching method, we can create a learning environment that promotes unity, also respect and pride in Malaysia's diverse identity. Additionally, allowing schools to incorporate local cultures element into a lesson can help a student to connect the learning with their real life experience. And also, it's celebrating a major culture festival within the curriculum will help encourage mutual understanding. So in this way, education becomes a tool not only for the knowledge, it's also become a national harmony and social inclusive. So this is also like aligned with Malaysian Education Act 1996, which state that the national curriculum must promote the moral, spiritual, and social development while fostering unity among all the races, demonstrating that exclusive is not just like moral responsibility but also a legal requirement under the national education policy.
That's a great insight. Thank you. I really like how you pointed out that inclusivity isn't just about representation, it's beyond that, where it's about helping every student feel seen and valued in what they learn every day in school and daily life. So thank you for highlighting that point. Inclusivity, inclusivity in education is not just about representation, it's about ensuring every student feel valued in what they learn each day. So this is also supported by national education philosophy, which emphasizes and development of a united, harmonious society through education that respect cultural diversity. In recent years, there have been concern raised when certain cultural groups felt overlooked in school materials, showing that inclusive curriculum design is essential not only for learning outcomes, but also for maintaining national unity and social stability. So, moving on to question to our State Department head, Ms. Noel, I want to talk about policy implementation and legal consistency. Ms. Noel, as someone who oversees schools at the state level, you've seen firsthand when the process of how education policies are put into practice. So, what would you say as a policy implementation team? What are the biggest challenges in implementing these policies effectively?
Okay, thank you for the question. So, in our education field today, there is actually a lot of challenges in terms of implementing the policies where we might have to expect based on the different scenarios from different schools. So, one of the perfect examples for the implementation challenges is the lack of funding for the the funding itself and the teaching staff, which might cause the schools to have like a hard time implementing the new policies due to the lack of people. So this creates them difficulty to develop to have a well facilitated school and cause them to develop slower. So besides that, there are other examples such as the poor monitoring systems and weak communication, and because of this, schools are prevented from noticing the weaknesses and threats, which will decline the school's performance. So, giving both students and staff a weak learning environment. So, additionally, actually, some schools do not give teachers more working opportunities in their careers due to the insufficient support the school is giving, which actually will create a restriction for their training ground and also limit their chances to improve their professional path.
Yeah, yes, and yes, I agree with that. And add on to that, there are some cases like the student suspicions dispute in Johor back in 2019, where there is a case where sources says that it was caused by unclear disciplinary guidelines that caused this tension between school management and parents. So, from your view, how can the education department ensure policies are both effective and legally consistent to prevent such issues? I'm so sorry, I'm a little bit stuck. Okay, sorry, panelist. So, such issues from happening again. So, what do you think?
So, So there is actually a lot of strategies that can be taken to ensure effective and consistent legal practices.
Mm,
With one of them being the education department that should be taking some strategies such as doing legal compliances. So this is to ensure that every school is following the rules and regulations that were set for each schools. This is
mm.
to ensure that every school is on the same path where students can get the equal amount of education they receive no matter which institution or school compound they are in. So, besides the legal compliance, disciplinary action should be fair and concise to each of the schools. So, all of the teachers, staff, or teaching staff in general, they have like a set of rules that they can follow from. So, besides that, schools also should engage with the parents as often as possible. So, the perfect example is where schools can actually have like a parents' day once or twice a year,
Mm.
depending on the school's flexibility. So it gives them the chance to invite parents to meet the teachers and also not only to understand the students' progress, but also giving them the opportunity to share whatever feedback they wish the school can improve. So that way, the schools can use these feedbacks as a method to implant into future strategies by giving themselves room for improvement.
Thank you, Ms. Noel. You have highlighted something very essential, and it's crucial that effective communication and clarity between management of schools, district, and the ministry truly make a difference when it comes to effective implementation. So, moving on to our psychology expert, Hashni. We want to get to know more about the student well-being and also the importance of emotional development. Now, Miss Ashni, let's talk about something that often gets overlooked by everyone, which is the most important part of students' well-being. We know that the students today face a lot of academic and emotional pressures due to their daily routines, lifestyle, family, and so on. As an expert in psychology, what would be your best suggestion for schools in improving the support that has been provided in embracing the students' mental and emotional health together with their excellence in the good academic standards? Miss
Thank
Ashni?
you, Ms. Yes, thank
Mhm.
you, Ms. Uma, for the question. Okay, all right. To truly support students' mental and emotional well-being alongside their academic success, school need to be more holistic and also a proactive approach. Okay, this begins with strengthening counseling services, establishing strong emotional support systems, and providing continuous training for the teachers in mental health awareness. Okay, when we say counseling and peer support, it can be programs that can guide students in managing academic pressures and personal challenges, and also which helps them to build confidence and resilience. Okay, at the same time, creating safe, inclusive spaces within the school will encourage an open communication and trust among students and staffs.
Mhm.
All right. Incorporating mindfulness activities, relaxation exercises, and time management strategies also can make help to reduce stress and also improve focus in learning for the students. Okay. When the teachers are well equipped to recognize early signs of emotional stress, they can also respond with care and empathy in creating classroom that feel safe and supportive. When we see it all together, these efforts will foster a positive school culture where students not only will excel in academically, but also feel emotionally secure, motivated, and ready to reach their full potential.
Okay, thank you, Miss Hashni. That's such a timely reminder that education should shape both the mind and the heart. A student's emotional health is just as important as their academic grades. So I would like to open question to all the panelists. Because here we want to, I would like to have an interest in talking about community involvement and collaboration within your roles, you know. So before we wrap up, I would like to ask one last question about just make it like one to two lines, like very short explanation from your experience, you know. So how to make our parents, communities, and school management to get together, you know, come together and work as a team to find a solution to present problem, you know, nowadays, and also to make them understand that their unity and the collaboration will work more effectively to tackle these educational challenges. Okay, like can we start with Miss Shavina? So yeah, can you share with us?
Okay, so thank you for the question. So I believe that the key to building strong collaboration between home and school lies in consistent communication and also shared responsibility, um, along with mutual respect among parents, the community, and the school management. So school should create more open channels for dialogue through regular meetings, parents-teacher conference, and also community engagement. So this will allow all parties to actually voice out their concern or their opinion based on the issues that they are facing. So at the same time, parents should actually like give themselves, represent themselves as an active parents, rather than the passive observer, so that they will actually know the progress of their kids or their children and what they are actually doing in school. So ultimately, uh, to conclude this part, when parents, communities, and school collaborate closely, this will form a strong support system, which not only focus on solving problems, but it also ensures a long-term success and well-being of the student. So, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Shavina. Yes, that's very true, you know. So I absolutely agree that their collaboration really helps build trust and shared responsibility for every child's success. What about Miss Menaga? What you say on this?
Okay, so thank you for the question, Ms. Uma. So as both parents and teachers must be take their roles and responsibility. So maybe as a teacher, they have to provide the academic feedback regularly and also like identify the strengths and the weakness for the student. So might by role of the parents, so they can monitor their homework, assignment, the attendance, and also can have a communications with the students like openly with the teachers and about anything like they're facing day-to-day activities, and also like they can support the child emotionals and provide the necessary learning sources to the student. So this is my view from the both of the parents and teachers must be take a responsibility to get a better.
Yeah, that's an excellent point, Miss Menaga. Yes, you're right. So the collaboration and the partnership between the schools and the parents is really will opens door for more learning experience from both sides. Okay, so moving on to Miss Noel, what is your say on this?
Okay, so to answer the question is that there should be it's very important that the community there should be a community outreach to the schools, especially those that are facing difficulties. And if it's going to affect the students' learning experience. So some of the ideas of community outreach include donation or like a fundraising activity for the schools. So at least through these activities, financial aid can be provided to them to buy facilities, or maybe they can host events such as like outdoor activities, or maybe general activities to spread the awareness of the school, which give them the opportunity for more people to help them during their financial difficulty. So besides that, PTA engagement can be implanted as well. So I mentioned earlier that parents can uh, give teachers feedback. So the purpose of PTA is actually to maintain a relationship between the parents and teachers throughout the students' time in school, which will give the educators an idea of what the parents expect from the school, and give the school further opportunities to improve the students' learning environment.
Yes, yes, absolutely, absolutely agree with that. What about Miss Ashni? What do you think on that? On the part of psychology as expert, what you say on this?
All right, thank you, Ms. Oma. Okay, as for me, as a psychology expert, okay, a strong and consistent communication between schools and parents is an important element in supporting students' mental, emotional, and academic development. When school and families maintain an open and also respectful and continuous dialogues through meetings, digital communication platforms, and also feedback channels, this will help them to establish a strong sense of trust, transparency, and also shared responsibility. Okay, if let's say both educators and parents to stay informed about what students' progress, needs, and challenges, this will enable them to intervene early and provide them the right kind of support. All right, that's all
Okay.
for me.
Yes, thank you. So yes, I agree with all the experts here. When the school authorities and families work together, policy make more sense and accountability becomes stronger. So thank you all for your thoughts and your knowledgeable sharing. It's clear that when families, schools and communities comes together, education becomes more meaningful and sustainable for everyone. So and with that, we've come to the end of our discussion today. So I would like to sincerely thanks to all our panelists today, Miss Shavina, Miss Noel, Miss Menaga, and Miss Heshni for sharing your thoughtful insights with us today. So from what we have heard, it's clear that the process of transforming Malaysian education system requires effective and strong teamwork, deeply constructed, fair and inclusive policies, well-trained teachers, and a platform that focuses strongly on students' well-being